Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimour Shamil. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif is on his 2 days visit to Islamabad, and this is the first time that a foreign dignitary is visiting Islamabad and meeting the government after the government has took over in Islamabad. Foreign Minister of Iran Javad Zarif has also been visiting Pakistan earlier. Pakistan-Iran relations have been improving over the last couple of months, and both countries are now working together for mutual cooperation in the area of economy, in the area of security as well. Pakistan and Iran certainly have more stakes in the region. Afghanistan is still a fragile country, 17 years on. There are more terrorist organizations in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is a big concern for both countries security-wise. Daesh is a new threat for both countries, and addressing this threat is also very important for both Iran and Pakistan. In the past, both the security agencies and the armies of both countries have been discussing about the issue of terrorism and extremism in the region, and also specifically in Afghanistan. Today, Iran's foreign minister, he visited the Foreign Office of Pakistan, and he met Pakistan's foreign minister, Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and he was just talking to the media. We'll see what he talked about, and then we'll come back to our discussion.
We have convergence on a number of regional issues. The best way forward is exchange of views, and I welcome the Foreign Minister, the very first Foreign Minister to visit us, the new government. It's just exchange of ideas, of thoughts, and putting your heads together to find solutions. Objective is simple: peace, stability, prosperity.
We just had a very positive meeting with His Excellency, the Foreign Minister. We're very happy to work with Pakistan. Pakistan is a special neighbor for us. We have extremely good relations with strong historical bonds with Pakistan, and I'm very happy that we could work on further areas of cooperation, both bilaterally as well as multilaterally and regionally, and we will continue to work together for peace and security.
We just saw that Pakistan's foreign minister and Iran's foreign minister, they were talking to the media, and they emphasized on primarily three things: peace, stability, and prosperity. And this is what both countries are going to work on, and they have been working on in the recent past as well. Today we are going to discuss about Pakistan-Iran relations specifically, and also we are expecting that the US delegation headed by Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State of the United States, would also be visiting Pakistan in future. In the wake of Pakistan-Iran relations, and in the wake of Iranian Foreign Minister visiting Pakistan, we'll be discussing about the regional developments as well with our special guests today in the studios. Let me introduce them. Our first guest is Ambassador Shaihd Kiyani. He is a renowned senior diplomat and an expert on Pakistan's foreign policy. So welcome to the show. Our second guest is Dr. Tughrul Yameen, a renowned senior academician and an assistant dean of Center for International Peace and Stability at National University of Science and Technology, Islamabad. So welcome to the show. Mr. Shaihd Kiyani, starting with Iran's foreign minister is visiting Pakistan. He's the first dignitary to visit Pakistan since the new government has took over. A new foreign minister is coming in, Shah Mahmood Qureshi, a new foreign minister of Iran is coming in to meet him. Both countries are working together. And also we see that this time both countries are engaging really well with each other. Pakistan's Independence Day was also celebrated in Iran after a long time, and this was a good gesture. How do you see Pakistan-Iran relations in last 6-7 months, because a lot of things have been happening?
First of all, you will have to see we need to be what you call commend the government, the new government, because right at the outset, Prime Minister Imran Khan received telephone calls, messages from a number of leaders, especially in the region, and the Iranian president also called him. And now the visit of Foreign Minister Javad Zarif is extremely important in the context of our efforts to improve relations in the region. Foreign Minister Javad Zarif is one of the most able foreign ministers globally. Not only in the region, he is one of the most able foreign minister. And we're lucky to have, at the same time, Foreign Minister Shamil Qureshi, a seasoned diplomat, a seasoned politician, who will be able to, exchange, as he was talking, you see, defend our national interest. And now the visit of Foreign Minister Javed Zarif is extremely important in the context of our relations in the neighborhood. Iran has been our neighbor even before the creation of Pakistan. We have cultural links, language, and we share a lot of concerns in the region, what's happening. You were talking about Daesh, you talk about the rise of extremism in this region. And then Iran is involved itself now in Syria and other places. So, and then the very important thing is Pakistan is also extremely, Pakistan has very close links and relations with Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So now my own opinion is that we should give due importance to the visit of the Iranian foreign minister,
right,
and we should have balanced our relations with both Iran and Saudi Arabia. Both the countries are rivals. It's nothing hidden in it, and these things continue to happen. They have been rivals for the past more than 70, 80 years. No, even during the Shah's time. So we should not get involved in these politics. We should give due reverence and due importance to the two countries and the relations with Pakistan.
Right. Dr. Tughrul, I mean, recently both countries have been warming up. We also saw that a couple of weeks back, Iranian army chief was also visiting Pakistan. Iranian army has been very active in Iran, otherwise in the region as well, as Ambassador Shaihd Kiyani was talking about it, in Syria, in the Middle East as well. Both armies cooperating with each other. Security is primarily, I would say, a big concern for Iran and Pakistan both. Daesh in the region. How do you see the security cooperation between Pakistan and Iran?
Security cooperation between Pakistan and Iran is also history. We have been training Iranian cadets in the time of the Shah, and unfortunately after the Ayatollahs came into power, this relationship broke off. But for a very long time now, Iranian military officers have been visiting our academies, our staff colleges, our war college. I think there's still an Iranian officer attending the National Defense College. It's a routine now. So the defense engagements have picked up. In my personal view, I think in Pakistan, our people who make the policies, our policy leaders, policy makers, should dehyphenate the Iran-Saudi Arab nexus. We should look at our relationship with Iran irrespective of our relationship with Saudi Arabia, because as Ambassador Kiyani pointed out very correctively, and I have a hunch his ancestors come from Iran, because Kiyani's come from Iran.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we should move away from that. We have good relations with Saudi Arabia. We have good relations with Iran. We do not have to have relationship at the expense of each other. I think we need to really put in a concerted effort to improve our relationship with Iran. The gas pipeline is there, and I think Iranians are quite willing to waive off these surcharges and other things that they were, I think, thinking of sending for international arbitration. So the visit of Foreign Minister Jawad Zarif is a very happy omen. It augurs very well for Pakistan. I'm sure this agenda would have been substantial. Perhaps he knows from his friends.
Right.
In Foreign Office, what was the agenda? But 3 points as pointed out by our Foreign Minister:
peace,
stability and prosperity. So, and we can continue from there, and security, collaboration, cooperation is implicit in it.
This is a very important point that you both talked about, keeping a balance between, let's say, Iran and Saudi Arabia. But there is also another big factor, and the factor is United States.
Yes.
So Pakistan-Iran relations have also been somehow in the shadow of United States as well for the last 70 years, I would say. When the Shah of Iran was there, post-Shah of Iran, Ayatollahs were there. So the relations between Pakistan and Iran have seen ups and downs. Now, perhaps US would be calling off the deal. That's what their officials say. Iran is also under pressure. They are trying to save the deal. They have been visiting Russia and other places as well. Pakistan and Iran relations, independent of US, let's say, and having more mutual cooperation and trust between both countries, how would both countries work on this thing?
You rightly pointed out
individually.
You rightly pointed out the visit of Mike Pompeo, the US Secretary of State who's coming here. They have their own agenda. So, but we are lucky, in the sense that I'll just give you a little background. The briefing of Prime Minister Imran Khan at the GHQ, I think was extremely important and timely. Now, Mr. Imran Khan, who's naturally new to governing, understands what he has to articulate as far as Pakistan national interest is concerned. I'm sure this will factor into it. Now look what India is doing. United States is bending over backwards to appease India, and there has been move to give a waiver to India from importing oil from Iran.
From Iran, right.
Now, if this is what they are trying to do, even though Iran and India do not have any borders, for us, it is extremely important to keep our western borders secure. We have had very good relations. During Shah's time, you would know, Shah mediated between Pakistan and Malaysia with many countries. We had very close, as Brigadier Saab was saying, very close relations with Iran in many fields, especially the defense and security. In the 65 war, they played a very pivotal role in supporting us. So now we have to
giving aircraft.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. Now, sir, when Ms. Mike Pompeo comes, and I am definite that Prime Minister Imran Khan would be able to articulate and say that our relations with Iran, are totally independent of this thing. President Trump has unraveled the whole nuclear deal. Many countries in the West do not agree with it. But for us, as you were saying, the Iran-Pakistan oil pipeline has been in the doldrums for the last many years, and I recall that the Iranian leaders have been saying that this is not on. They have brought the whole pipeline to our borders, and I think we need to signal to United States that our relationship with Iran cannot be blackmailed.
Right.
We have to keep it independent, and for many reasons. And I'll tell you one last thing. Mr. Javed Zarif, I'm definitely, because they are now in a very difficult situation. Their domestic, situation is quite more difficult than people think. People there in Iran, they want to travel, they want to import medicine, they want to send their children for education. Nothing can be done. Yes. So they need a support from Pakistan, and Pakistan should give a support to them. That look, a deal was signed by many countries. You have unraveled it. Please try to understand Iran's also difficulties. You cannot totally blank and how can a deal be renegotiated with about 6, 7, 8 countries? Yeah. So we should support them in its legitimate request or demand that this deal needs a new life.
But Dr. Tughrul, I mean, would it be easy for Pakistan and for Iran to come out of that American shadow, perhaps, and the American impact, the structural pressures, the international pressures?
Taimour Sahab, it's all in the mindset. I think Ambassador Shaihd Kiyani will bear me out that Pakistan looks after the Iranian interest section in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
So we have for a very long time now. So we support each other, and as you very rightly pointed out, Iran internally is in turmoil. They have just impeached 2 of Rouhani's ministers. Yes. It's a big deal.
Right.
So they are reeling under so many sanctions and so many external pressures that people are fed up. They said that this joint comprehensive plan of action was a farce. It was a fake. It was a sham. It actually impeded upon our sovereignty. People are talking openly against it because the way shamelessly, Trump rubbished it. So they have problems, and we can support them in many ways. When I look at the education sector, for instance, right. Why can't we be having exchange of students? We do not have a single Iranian student in NUST.
Cultural exchanges?
Cultural exchange. There, I think Khana Farang Iran was once upon a time very culturally active, but then
they have been active.
They were active, but then they came under suspicion, and we thought they were doing things other than their cultural activities over there. But at the university level, you see, we should be sending think tank level, at the media level, why shouldn't you be collaborating with the Iranian television or Iranian radio? Persian is a second language to many people. Sartaj Aziz used to speak Persian.
Persian
Yeah.
really well, and I think this you very rightly pointed out that it is for Pakistan to keep a good balance, and having better relations with its neighbors. We have Lieutenant General retired Amjad Shoaib with us on the phone call. Lieutenant General Amjad Shoaib is the renowned senior defense analyst. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Welcome to the show. We are discussing Pakistan-Iranian relations. Iran's Foreign Minister Javed Zarif is visiting Pakistan. He's on his 2 days visit. Both countries have been working closely, and in the last couple of months, we have seen that they have been warming up. Security is a big concern for both countries, and Daesh has been a big threat to Iran and to Pakistan and Afghanistan as well. How do you think that Pakistan and Iran can address this issue of extremism and terrorism in the region?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Previously, Iran had a problem, and that time some terrorist groups, particularly Jindullah, they were using our side of the border, and they would go into Iran, commit an act of violence, and then come back and hide. Pakistan has done two things. One, that we have started sharing intelligence with them, and we have helped them in neutralizing the Jundullah. At the same time, we have also gone in for operation to neutralize any safe havens if they were in our area. And then we have jointly worked out an arrangement for border management where with the collaboration and the joint arrangement having with Iran, to a greater extent we have been able to secure the borders on both sides. It is helping, and you realize that we haven't heard of any incident for quite some time now where Jundullah was involved for any act of violence in Iran. So they are quite happy and satisfied, and for that they are quite grateful to Pakistan. Now this new threat, it has still not materialized to an extent where perhaps it can pose serious threat. We have three types of ISIS in Afghanistan. First is ISIS Khorasan chapter. They are these people, they in fact consist of splinter groups from TTP, and RAW was perhaps the main factor in putting them together and having a separate cell of ISIS Khorasan chapter, and they are primarily operating in Pakistan and not doing anything in Afghanistan. That is why they enjoy the support from NDS and also from RAW. The other ISIS is the purely Afghan nationals. They are there, and they are the original ISIS. They rose right in the beginning, and Mullah Sayyid was the head, and they are operating in Afghanistan, and they have been carrying out many terrorist acts in Iran and in Afghanistan. And very recently, they had attacked some students get together, and perhaps they killed something like about 30 to 40 young boys. Right. So that group is also operating, but they are purely operating in Afghanistan. Then the third group is, which Americans are now bringing. They have brought, and they may still be bringing more people. They are purely Russians who had joined ISIS in Syria, and they had gone from Chechnya and Dagestan, and there are some who had gone from Iranian Balochistan and Kurdistan. They are Sunnis. Now, once ISIS has been defeated by Iranian and Russian forces and Syrian forces in Syria, Americans are now picking them up, and they have brought them into Afghanistan. And you must have heard of some unmarked helicopters moving the people from one place to the other, and also replenishing them with weapons and food, etc. Now, this third group ultimately is going to be used against Russia, against Central Asian states, and also against Iran. So that is the main design which Americans are going to ultimately unfold. But they are waiting for some kind of arrangement with the Taliban. They will wait for some kind of arrangement or some kind of negotiation with the Taliban. Ultimately, once the Taliban they join the mainstream politics in Afghanistan, then Americans will be free to deal with the Russians and Central Asian states.
Right.
So we have a time gap or time bracket in between where these activities are going on, and Americans are very keen to have some kind of agreement with the Taliban, and they are now running around to do that. At this point, realizing the emerging threat
Jalal Saab, you-
ISIS, Iran, Pakistan, Russia, and China, they have got together. And about a month ago or month and a half, we had the conference of the IS or the intelligence chiefs of 4 countries in Islamabad. And that is where we have started cooperating with each other as far as the threat is concerned. But more than that, we have to create some kind of an economic interest for the Iranians in Pakistan. We have not moved ahead as far as the gas pipeline is concerned. They wanted to invest in refinery. We haven't done that also. They want to give you electricity, and again, we are not very keen to have. They are ready to provide about 1,000 megawatts of electricity to Gwadar. Now, such like things, if you create some economic interest for the Iranians in Pakistan, and the economy is there, very weak link at the moment, I think they will not be able to get away from Pakistan, and the relationship will keep on becoming stronger and stronger with every passing day. So this is very important, and we must focus on developing some kind of economic interest for the Iranians in Pakistan, and that is where perhaps we are not doing much.
Right. General Amjad Shaikh, thank you for your time. Thank you for your comprehensive analysis. Thank you for being with us. We'll continue our discussion on Pakistan-Iran relations, and both countries recently have been warming up, and in an unprecedented way this time the Iranian authorities celebrated Pakistan Independence Day in Iran. We're going to continue our discussion on the regional cooperation and how would Pakistan, Iran, Russia and other countries in the region would address the issue of extremism and terrorism. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. The Iranian Foreign Minister Javed Zarif is on his 2 days visit to Islamabad. He met Pakistan's Foreign Minister, Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi, and he will also be meeting Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan and Chief of Army Staff as well. He is expected to meet them. Ambassador Shaihd Kiyani, talking about Pakistan-Iran relations. Iran has been very active in the region. They have been very concerned about Afghanistan. They have been active in Syria, in the Middle East as well. Many experts think that Iran somehow has also been dominating Middle East recently in the last couple of years, 4 or 5 years. Iran is getting very close to Russia. Both Russia and Iran have been cooperating and collaborating in Middle East. Pakistan and Iran are getting closer. Pakistan is improving relations with Russia. These alliances, changing alliances and the changing regional dynamics in Middle East as well as in Asia, how do you see them?
First, let me, I agree to a large extent what General Shoaib was saying, but there is something extremely important. While we come to that, Foreign Minister Javed Zarif should go back to Tehran a reassured person, that he has been reassured in the sense that we have heard his concerns and he has heard our concerns. He should not go back from here empty-handed. Neither should he leave us in the lurch that we will still be asking what he was saying. They are in a very, very difficult position, as we were talking, both domestically and globally. Domestically, the people are up in arms. They have lost 2 cabinet ministers. And the worst thing I think President Trump would be doing is, destabilizing this government with a reformist president. What would you be left domestically? Hardliners? Would President Trump would like to negotiate with hardliners? He's a reformist. He has his difficulty. He's a politician and an ideal person. He is a clergyman and a politician, and somebody who understands what global politics is. He did his best. This whole thing was the nuclear deal was negotiated under his supervision. So I think it's very sad. So the foreign minister, Javed Zarif, as I said, should go back, a reassured person. As far as the regional politics are concerned, Syria had relations with Syria. Russia had relations with Syria going back decades, even during the Hafiz al-Assad, the father of the current president of Syria. There's a left-leaning government, a secular government for a very long time. Iran has its own what you call his interest. Interest. Let me be honest. The sect which is ruling Syria for the last many decades is a subsect of the Ahl Tashi. So they have then they have other concerns like what is happening in Yemen. But Russia and Syria have been cooperating. But please try to understand, at many places I've seen, Russia and Iran are not on the same page at many places.
Right.
Here, Russians are more careful as far as getting more involved in Syria. They are at times listening to the United States also. But the problem here is, since United States and Iran are not communicating with each other, incommunicado as they say, so therefore the Trump administration doesn't listen to them and they don't listen to Trump. So, but we have extremely good relations with Russia. So we should be able to, sir, negotiate ourselves through this myriad of the agreements and these what you call alliances. Because Pakistan, as we say, we should portray now that there's a new government, a new approach to foreign policy. That should be the message which the Iranian foreign ministry should take, and the forthcoming visit of the United States should also understand this.
Right. This is very important, Dr. Tughrul. I mean that regional alliances are changing, dynamics are changing. Certainly Pakistan has a new government, and new government would be having new challenges in the future. Iran-Russia relations and Pakistan getting close to Russia, their high officials, military officials have been visiting Pakistan, their businessmen have been visiting Pakistan recently. How do you see this triangle, Pakistan, Iran and Russia, and also looking at it in the wake of what is happening in Afghanistan and the United States?
I think more than Pakistan, Iran, Russia, I see a triangle being formed between Pakistan, Iran and Turkey. All 3 Muslim countries, formerly members of the RCD, Regional Cooperation for Development, and now members of the ECO, Economic Cooperation Organization. Russia, as he very rightly pointed out, some places their interests coincide with us, with Iranians, with other people. At other places they do not. Russia has its own foreign policy. Obviously, they have their former states from the Cold War time, which were their client states or vassal states or friendly states or whatever you call. Iranians have their interests in the countries which are located in the so-called Shia Crescent. Recently, the Iranian military chief was in Syria assuring Bashar al-Assad all kinds of military aid. So interests in foreign policy, in foreign affairs, and as Lord Palmerston said, it's interests which coincide at places. So it's interests that I see. Some places they are coinciding, other places they are not coinciding. But again, something interesting, if you're talking about that particular triangle, Pakistan and India have become part of SCO, and they are taking part in joint drills also in the Urals. And also Iran is a dialogue partner or whatever. It's very close to becoming a full partner in the SCO paradigm or framework. So yes, we can have, but within SCO we are also collaborating with India, which is again a very interesting twist. Both special forces from both countries sitting together, getting them photographed with their flags behind them. So it's interesting under the patronage of the Russians, perhaps, but this does not mean that the Indians are moving out of the American influence. They are still very much. In fact, Pompeo and Dunford actually are going to India after visiting, and they are having their 2+2 dialogue. I think it is in preparation for that, in which their foreign minister and defense ministers on each side are going to talk to each other. So India is very clever. India has been partners to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. They were the only country which took part in the Moscow Olympics, which was actually boycotted by the rest of the world. And after the Cold War, they became friends with the United States of America. So we have to be wary of India. Obviously, some places our interests may coincide. Water as an issue. Their Indus Water administrator was here, commissioner was there. And I don't think there is much of an agreement on what we want and what they want. So we have our issues, but we should not be on a war path perpetually, and that's what our new Prime Minister has also said. There is scope for collaboration with India also. We have to be careful there. We have a growing relationship with Russia. We should expand on that. Iran, we have an ancient relationship. We should capitalize on it. Somehow, somewhere, I think in Afghanistan, because of Taliban, they had their people, they were supporting the Northern Alliance, we were supporting Taliban. Interests clashed, but I think now things are not exactly settled down, but somehow or the other, we have realized that we should not be fighting each other, we should be collaborating.
I think this is a very important point, because Prime Minister himself and the new government, they have said that they will be attending UNGA next month, and there they would be looking for more alliances, more friends, more people, more countries that they can cooperate with. So at the moment, what Pakistan needs is strong economy, and good alliances, strong alliances in the region and globally as well. So looking for more alliances perhaps is Pakistan's stance at the moment. Perhaps this is the priority of the new government, Mr. Shaihd.
Yeah, I would just like to conclude on this visit of the Iranian Foreign Minister. Our grouse has been for the last many years that Iran has moved very close to, even though being a neighbor of Pakistan, to India. Now, definitely the national interest of Iran must have demanded that they move close to India. It's a sovereign country, it has its own rights. So now is the opportunity now to work. We should not be, the problem, sometimes when I hear the discussions, we try to own countries. Countries cannot be owned, they are sovereign countries. We should allow those countries to have a relationship, but not at our cost. Now this is the time now in which I'm sure the Iranian Foreign Minister must have opened his heart to his Pakistani counterpart. Let's see what they are saying. Let's try to help them. Let us try to also make them understand that your relationship with India should not be at our cost, because we have serious concerns in our security establishment, in our political and in the foreign office also. So this is the time now, and let us try to build our relationship, and let us try to take back the relationship as it stood maybe 20, 30 years back. It happens. Countries do work like that. Now coming down to the forthcoming visit of the Foreign Minister of the UNGA, it provides an excellent opportunity, not only in the context of our Foreign Minister sharing globally what our aim and objectives are. I would just like to commend, because our Foreign Minister, our Prime Minister has said, and the Foreign Minister said that they would also share our serious concern regarding the cartoon issue. Now, our Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister, I must commend them. They have dealt with this issue in a most matured manner, because the phone call of our Foreign Minister to his Dutch counterpart and our Prime Minister's speech last night must have been factored by the Dutch government or by the Western countries. So when he goes, our Foreign Minister goes, he should be not only articulating what our the new vision of the new government is, and also on the sidelines of the UNGA, try to meet as many important foreign ministers and international organization heads as possible, so that we have to tell them that this is a new government, a new vision, and we are not carrying any baggage.
And perhaps more opportunities for Pakistan.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean that on the sidelines of UNGA, last year though, Pakistani Prime Minister was very vocal about Afghanistan, about many of the issues that Pakistan has been facing. This time, UNG and also Pompeo's visit, Secretary of State, United States Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, and then UNGA. How do you see that? Both things going parallel, and then more opportunities for Pakistan.
So Mike Pompeo's visit is obviously they are going to come and give their vision on Afghanistan, because the Americans now see Pakistan increasingly through the Afghan lens, and the controversial telephone call that he made and the readout that the State Department had with them that said that Pakistan should take decisive action against people who are operating outside from our territory against Afghanistan. So I think he's going to talk in similar way into Pakistan here in Islamabad.
So what should Pakistan talk about, and what can Pakistan talk about?
We should repeat that we are not involved in this kind of things. It is not in our interest to interfere in Afghanistan. We are doing whatever is possible, humanly possible, militarily possible, economically possible, to root out the evil of terrorism. Our troops are employed more core strength in the former federally administrated tribal areas. He should be shown dossiers or practical facts and figures of how many people have been killed in action, what negative effects has it had on Pakistan. The important thing is that in his infamous New Year tweet, Trump has said that we have spent $33 billion on Pakistan, which has just they have been lying to us.
Lies and deceit. These were the two
lies
words,
and
right.
deceit. So we should tell them that these are not lies and deceit. We have actually suffered much more in terms of monetary value than the $33 billion that Mr. Trump is claiming. So I think that should be an effective presentation should be made by Asad Omar, our new finance minister, and I think he's fully qualified to hold forth on. He's not a novice. He understands things. He should tell the Americans, look, hey Pompeo, this is not the fact. The fact is that we have suffered so much, and we are doing it, and we are not interfering in Afghanistan in any manner. And if you think there is any evidence that we are doing it, please tell us, and we should remove your apprehensions about it, and we should be candid, and we should be honest, and we should be serious. Frankly,
right.
we should not try to deceive anybody. We should be very candid with the Americans,
right.
because they hold this grudge against you, and you should try to remove that. And this is the thing that they're again going to speak to you, perhaps at the forum, UN forum also. It might as well be part of Trump's speech that he makes at the UN forum, that he does not, because this, after all, is the longest external war, 17 years down the line. There's still no light at the end of the tunnel, no hope of ending it. So
certainly,
these are things.
And my perception is, correct me if I'm wrong, the thing is that Pentagon and GHQ have been working very closely.
Yeah.
State Department and Pakistan's Foreign Office, they have been working very closely. Both armies, both bureaucracies know exactly what mess Afghanistan is. 17 years long war and no end in sight of this war that is going on. But White House, President Donald Trump, he has his own ways of doing things. Many diplomats weren't aware of what kind of tweet would be coming on 1st of January. So White House stance on Afghanistan, perhaps American establishment, American army, Pentagon is too under pressure, because this is the question of their performance in Afghanistan. Pressurizing Pakistan, would that help White House or United States to get rid of this long war?
I have said it on this forum, and it is a matter of record, historical record, that the White House and the State Department never on the same page on many issues. One big historical thing I can share with you, President Nixon's reaching out to China through Pakistan. They say from ahead, through ahead to ahead. It is very famous said by Henry Kissinger. The State Department had no knowledge, many a times. But that was a very positive thing what happened. Right. But generally 24/7, the State Department is in touch, as I said, perpetual negotiations with the host governments through their embassies. They understand the countries far better, much better than what the White House would do. But here you're talking about Mike Pompeo, who was director of CIA, and is one of the very close associates of President Trump, a new conservative. They have their own vision. You see, The problem is every head of state, head of government, including our Prime Minister, has his own view of what globe is, what the world is. Now his vision, President Trump's vision, is very, very different. It is, you know, as I say, it is with regret. It is, you know, the slant is against the Muslims and against the people who are the third world. And look, the language he has used. And now there is another problem now, which is indirectly linked to this, is the domestic problem which President Trump, his personal problem which he's facing. So he may not be able to, probably in the next 6-7 months, this is my own opinion, may not be able to focus on the relationship with other countries. But as Mike Pompeo is coming here, his opinion, let's hope that he is, you know, he balances his statement with Pakistani leadership, and does not force us to again respond in the curt manner which they do, because we have on record, first of all, the army is a battle hardened army. For the last now many years we are fighting. Look at the cost, financial, and the cost in the loss of personnel and the citizens. So our record is very clear. Yes, they should be able to tell us specifically, yes, this area, because they have all the information, that this is the area in which the people are living, and you should be able to help. And sir, another important thing, why not they should financially support us, give us the help and so on. We are a resource-starved country. They should tell us that, okay, first pat us. You cannot, criticize us and then give us the money. And we can work, and Pakistan and United States work together. But there will be no boots on ground. That is something which they should understand. They should tell us that these are the area in which we have concerns. There are insurgents, or there are people who are attacking our troops in Afghanistan. But sir, we also have the same concerns. We have been telling them that people from Afghanistan, they come into our territory, attack us, kill us, and they go back. Why don't they listen to that?
So there's so many things, so many issues in this long war on terror, in this 17 years long war on terror, that we have lost so many people. Afghans have suffered the most.
Absolutely.
NATO forces have been repeatedly hit by the Taliban, and this, as I said earlier, is a whole mess. Dr. Tughrul, I mean, my last question, US has stopped exchange programs, military exchange program. We have been talking about that in our previous programs as well. Also, they have cut security assistance to Pakistan. These signs aren't very bright, and certainly there is a baggage that Mr. Pompeo would be coming up with, and the Pakistani officials. What is the future, let's say, of Pakistan-US relations and these talks that are going to take place?
Taimour Sahab, in my personal opinion, it is in Pakistan's interest to get out of the AIDS syndrome. We have been addicted to US aid for a very long time, and I think although it's bad, it will affect us, but not getting the coalition support fund and having a suspension of IMET, I think is good. It's in our interest. It will deny the Americans the leverage that they have on Pakistan. You can tell them, you are not giving us anything. What do you want us to do? What are you giving us?
As clear as that.
As clear as that. They tell you, you're not giving us anything. I think General Ziaul Haq was on spot when he refused the $400 million aid which was being offered by Jimmy Carter. Peanuts, he said. It's very famous. So they are not even giving us shells of those peanuts now. So what's the big deal? You can always tell them, sorry, can't help.
And if things we can't do what they're asking us to do, then let's not take the assistance. That kind of funds that we don't need, let's say.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just last thing. As the Secretary of State Pompeo comes here, we have a historical relationship with the United States. It's a very important trading and economic and defense partner. Pakistan should be treated with respect. This is something which they need to understand. Okay? You see, when they give us development assistance, I just want to tell you, this is part of all developed societies, that they share this thing to we're not talking about defense, the health and education sector. So when they give, this is under pressure from their own societies.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Mr. Shaihd Kiyani, pleasure having you on the show. Dr. Tughrul, Yameen, thank you for your time. Pleasure having you on the show. We talked about Pakistan-Iran relations. Iran's Foreign Minister Javed Zarif is on his 2 days visit to Islamabad. He met Pakistan's Foreign Minister, Mr. Shah Mahmood Qureshi. He will also be meeting Prime Minister Imran Khan and Chief of Army Staff. He's expected to meet them. Pakistan and Iran both have a lot of things in common: religion, language, culture. And we also have a common foe, a common enemy, that is extremism and terrorism. Addressing this issue is very important. But at the same time, both countries have to cooperate to benefit the people at the grassroots level. Iranians and the Pakistanis, they have to come closer to understand each other better and work for prosperity, peace and stability, something that Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, Pakistan's Foreign Minister, he talked about today. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.